All right, now joining me, Brenden Rice, wide receiver prospect in the 2024 NFL Draft. It's funny, man. I was just at the Senior Bowl on the field all week, and who's out there making plays? Mossing people, letting them know, making the corners look little. How was that week for you, man?
Man, it was amazing just to be able to go out there on the same platform as everybody and go ahead and just know, like, hey, we are all on the same plane right here. We're trying to go ahead and battle each day in and day out for roster spots or just get a couple extra draft pick spots earlier. And just being on that platform, man, I got to saw some of the top guys in the nation and know that, I'm going head-to-head against them. I'm defeating them. I'm looking better than him. I can do this and that. And it kind of gives you a boost of confidence knowing that, okay, even though he may have had a 1,000-yard season, 100 catches, it's just based off of situations. We were in such a talented receiver room at USC, and just to be able to come out there and do what I can do and show that, hey, USC receivers are still dominant to this day.
You really did. I mean, it's an environment where you got scouts on the field, coaches on the field, Mike Tomlin's out there, Kevin O'Connell. Draft nerds like me, I cover the draft all year round. We're out there on the field, and we get, it's the first time we usually get to be around players like you. And what I loved about it is it's a cool environment. A lot of guys are friendly. But with you, the competitive edge was totally different. I mean, after making plays, you'd let some corners know it. And I think that drive stood out on the field, whether it was making a big play, doing the little things right. It just felt like you thrived in a competitive environment.
Most definitely. Going back and forth with some of these guys is amazing. And just to be able to know that, hey, this is a top DB in the nation, knowing that I need to go in with the right perspective. I had to study some guys for 2 days.
Right.
Person in interest, Kyrie Jackson. I had to study him for 2 days before I went against. Man, I was watching his every move, very aggressive DB, and I knew off the rip, man, I need to go ahead and bring my A game. And I did just that, and I felt as though I proved to some of these guys, hey, I'm one of the top receivers in this draft.
But something you're going to hear a lot is the red zone presence you have. You're big, you have the catch radius, you can high point the ball, you can go up above the rim and make the plays. Is there anybody you kind of, model that after a little bit? I was standing next to one of my buddies that does scouting as well, and he's like, man, when Brendan's best plays remind me of Mike Evans at times. Are there guys like that are your body type that you try to aspire to be like?
For sure, you got the Chris Godwins, the Mike Evans, the Julio Jones. There's so many great players, the Megatrons. But the thing is, I want to be a guy that can go ahead and be smooth as silk, like my dad was, while also having that physical presence of Mike Evans.
What was it like, obviously, growing up with a father that's the greatest wide receiver of all time, and then obviously you play football, but you also played the same position? Was there a lot of expectations or pressure? It obviously didn't bother you. I mean, 12 touchdowns at USC this year, but is there something different about that?
Man, my dad used to always tell me, stay present in the moment, you will be okay. If you make the moment bigger than what it is, then yeah, you might crush yourself a little bit. But pressure is a privilege, so you got to be okay with having that pressure and that spotlight on you, because that's where you really become a diamond. You're going to either bust or you're going to become a diamond, and you got to go ahead and be thankful for those type of situations.
So coming into the league, of course, Caleb Williams in this draft as well, your quarterback. I mean, one of the highest regarded quarterback prospects we've seen in the draft in a while. When you transferred from Colorado and started catching passes from him, what was your first reaction? Did it feel like someone special?
Man, Caleb Williams is a generational talent, and you really have to take it as that. That dude is going to come with his A game every single day in practice. They're going to say some character issues here and there. From what I saw, that dude elevated my game, and I'm thankful for that each day in and day out, because without him, I wouldn't be up here right now entering the draft, man. I go ahead and give him a little bit of recognition just for that, because there was days that I had rough games, and he was like, hey, lock back in, focus. I know what you can do. I can trust you. I've seen the work you put in and day out, and I know that you're going to go out here and make the best play.
That's awesome. And I wanted to ask you what went into that decision to leave school. I mean, you're a 21-year-old prospect, a younger prospect in this draft, obviously, but you caught 12 touchdowns this year. The production's there, but is there any part of you that's also, what goes into that decision where it's like, I can come back, I could have another monster year, maybe even go higher in the draft or just enjoy school? What was it like going through that process?
Just talking with my coaches, man. I went back and forth with my coach, and he happened to tell me a couple times, hey, Brenden, I understand you want to come back, and I was just joking with him, right? He was like, but no, you need to leave the bird's nest. To be honest with you, I really was considering going back just to be a top 15, top 20 draft pick, especially with how dominant of a season I just had. But he was like, you're not going to have another production year with 45 catches and 12 touchdowns. He's like, you don't get how hard that is to do, especially in such a deep wide receiver room we had.
Who were some of the toughest corners you went against this year?
It wasn't until the Senior Bowl that I actually went against some of these corners. Cam Hart was a guy that I really liked, very physical.
He's a big corner.
Yeah, he can go ahead and read routes and jump them.
Yep.
He was doing it with a lot of guys, and I was like, wow, this dude's doing some things, as well as Kyrie Jackson.
Yep. Yeah, those guys had a really strong week as well. Man, when you look at this process now, you train for the draft, but you train for the combine. What is something you're looking to work on as you go into the combine? Where we come off an environment, the Senior Bowl, it's all football. Pads on, hitting. You go to the combine, it's kind of a track and field event. It's an interview event. It's a medical event. What is something you've really narrowed your vision in on for that?
I feel as though just being honest with these coaches and knowing, just telling them what I want. They always ask you, what do you want from us? What do you want a team to go ahead and know from you? I want them to know that, hey, you guys are getting a dog day in and day out. With work ethic, you guys have to know, like, I'm coming to take a veteran spot. I'm coming to be a vocal leader on the team. And if you guys don't want that type of presence within the locker room, then I may not be the best pick for you. If you guys want a guy that's going to go in and day out and know that he's trying to create his own legacy, then I'm the perfect fit for you. As well as just going ahead and preparing for this 40 time. And, I got to go ahead and show that I can create separation day in and day out, as well as knowing that I'm a big, physical, dominant receiver.
Lincoln Riley's put a lot of players, especially on offense, in the NFL. What was it like when you transferred, the differences in that offense and how it helped bring out the production in you?
Man.
In terms of what you were asked to do, maybe, compared to
you have to go
past.
ahead and I would have to say you had to go ahead and make the most of your moment.
Yeah.
You might not get the ball 3 to 4, 5, 6 times a game. And a lot of receivers, as you would know, just like have that trouble fitting in and finding their way. But I just knew day in and day out, like, guys, if I get that ball one time, the first game I didn't even start. If I got that ball one time and I went ahead and scored a touchdown. Second game, got the ball 1 or 2 times, scored a touchdown. And then they just kept building and building. And that's what I wanted, man. I wanted teams to show, like, hey, if I'm limited in catches or targets, I'm going to go ahead and make the most of my abilities.
Obviously, it would be really cool if you came into the league, ended up in the same spot as your quarterback from USC, Caleb Williams. But who's maybe a veteran or two that you would love to play with? Or even not a veteran. It could be a young guy like C.J. Stroud that just blew up this year.
Man, C.J. is a dog, and I would love to go ahead and play with him. I would like to, any young guy, even Bryce. I would love to go over there and be a dominant force with Bryce because I know Bryce has it. Yeah. I know he has it within him. I've seen it at Alabama. I've seen his work ethic, his drive, and he just needs to be put in the right position to have the right pieces around him.
So you're with us here today with Breathe Right. What do you got going on with them?
Well, with Breathe Right, it's pretty cool, man. Like, just have the iconic moment. If you guys didn't see, it's the old, my dad used to have the black paint and then the Breathe Right strip. It's real iconic. It's real nostalgic. And just to be able to go back and just show who I am as a person, as well as show the past and present. Man, Breathe Right has allowed me to go ahead and clear up some of my sinuses, just all this traveling. And I love to wear it in game days to go ahead and make sure I'm getting the right oxygen.
Brenden Rice, wide receiver prospect for the 2024 NFL Draft, a great wide receiver prospect. Can't wait to see what he does in the NFL. Appreciate you stopping by, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.